Hello to everyone who may or may not be here. Welcome back to the stream where we play non-violent games, games that reward the player for intellectual or emotional engagement rather than for combat or other violent accomplishments. So we're back with the Great Ace Attorney today. I tried to install some extensions and apparently Sound Alert is not working yet. But that's okay. I'll fix it another day. But anyways, that's what the notification in the corner is there. In the chat, I mean, thing. Anyways, so hello everyone. Hello to all who may or may not be here. It's great to see you and all that jazz. So, shall we get started? Now one thing I did do, that I hope can work is I've tried to, put, closed captions as a thing that could be done. So if you can do that, and like if it works, please let me know. Because I would really like to make that something that can be done here. So, yeah. Anyways, sorry for the delay. I just there's. Whew. Yeah. Anyways, that should all be working. I hope. Without further ado, let's go. I think I said that before and then I just didn't do that. So, but here we go. Okay, so we got 22nd of February, 1:11 p.m. Naruto's Legal Consultancy. Whew, we made it back in one piece. Just. To be perfectly honest, I thought we were finished there for a while. Oh, I know. What a lot of close shaves. There are so many carriages on the street of London who are very nearly flattened several times. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. Yes, I know. It was a marvelous defense, Naruto-san, it really was. I was in awe of you. Hey, Jerry! Welcome! Haven't seen you in a while. Oh, thank you. And now that your fervent exploits have won us some more precious investigation time, let's see if we can find some new clues for court tomorrow. How am I? I'm pretty good. Okay, so that's where we were. I had forgotten, because, last week was Thanksgiving. Just updating the, name of this. To reflect a little bit more what we're actually doing. There we go. That ought to do it. Let's see if we can find some new clues for court tomorrow. Yes, let's do that. Is everything all right? I suppose I still can't quite believe it. That's all. that I'm here in England working as a lawyer. I mean, in the Old Bailey, no less. The truth is, it shouldn't be me, should it? It should be him standing in my shoes. It should be Kazuma. It was Kazuma-sama's wish that you follow him to Great Britain and work alongside him. Yes, I mean, I never had the chance to ask him exactly why, but he clearly had a plan. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. And you're doing wonderfully, Naruto-san. I've no doubt that Kazuma-sama would say exactly the same if he were here with us. Thank you, Sasada-san. Thank you. Today's trial. It was quite a shock earlier today, wasn't it? When the victim himself turned up in court and took the stand. I know. Not only that, but then finding out that he is actually a barefaced gas thief as well. Yes, that was certainly a surprise to us all. For a while, it seemed as though everyone had quite forgotten about Saseki-san poisoning the tea. Careful of your phrasing, Sasada-san. He didn't poison anything. And there's more to this Mr. Shamspear than we yet know, I'm sure of it. Mr. Shamspear certainly wasn't the noble, upstanding man everyone thought he was at first. And what's become of him, actually? I was told that he'd be returning to the hospital ward where he was receiving treatment. Oh, which one is that? Let me see. Ah, yes, he's at St. Bartholomew's, or Bart's as Londoners call it. We know that place, don't we? Yes, we visited Miss Green there yesterday. It's the same hospital to which she was taken. Ah, yes, after Saseki-san stabbed her in the back. Do be careful of your phrasing, Naruto-san. He didn't stab anyone. Perhaps we both owe Saseki-san an apology. St. Bartholomew's. Yes, we should probably visit the hospital later. So, we know that Saseki-san took tea to the victim on the night in question. But as he isn't the culprit, then obviously... Yes, the poison surely wasn't in the tea. But if that's the case, how on earth did the poison get into Mr. Shamspear's body? I'm sure we'll find a clue at the scene. There must be something in Mr. Shamspear's room that will help solve the mystery. Well, naturally, Scotland Yard detectives have been over the place already, but it couldn't hurt for us to have another look around, I think. Definitely. And I'm desperate to know the outcome of the investigation into the tea left in this bar of soap. Well, if we run into Inspector Gregson, we could ask him about that. Kazuma Asagi, the best friend I ever had, and a lawyer with such promise. He really saved my bacon in that horrible incident just before we left Japan. I could still picture him now, looking so fierce and determined in court. And then after the trial, that crazy idea he came up with. As a stowaway? Yes, you can fit inside my trunk if you curl up small enough, I'm sure. No one will know. No one will know. Yes, you can fit inside my trunk if you curl up small enough, I'm sure. No one will know. Kazuma, won't you tell me why? Why go to these lengths? Sorry. Why go to these lengths so that I can accompany you to Great Britain? Well, it's been on my mind ever since we got through that trial. That you really ought to go into law. Be a defense lawyer. You've got a natural talent for it. Believe me, I guarantee it. But I've never even thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, I can't force you, obviously. You'll have to decide for yourself. But anyway, London is the cultural capital of the world. The city at the forefront of everything. It can't hurt for you to see it with your own eyes. No, that's true. I suppose, though, if you were to become a lawyer, then one day... One day what? No. Never mind. Naruto-san? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking about Kazuma. Yes, he's forever in my thoughts, too. To change the Japanese judicial system for the better. That was his dream. And that's why he was so desperately wanted to come to Great Britain to study, of course. Yes, that's right, but... Yes? I do wonder if his true intentions lay elsewhere sometimes. I don't know. The thought just takes hold of me every now and then, that's all. Now, Odo-san, what do you mean by Kazuma-sama's true intentions? I mean this. His katana? I never expected to inherit this sword after Kazuma passed away, of course. No, I know. It was because I asked you to take it. When I have it at my side in court, I feel as though it gives me courage. Yes. Actually, the night before he died, he told me a little about the sword. Karuma? That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asugi clan. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryonosuke. I can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe that. So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two? Not that you would need much compelling. On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain. Something you have to do? Yes. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. What did he mean by something very important that I have to do? I had hoped that the answer to that question would become apparent when we arrived here, but as yet I've not found a single clue. I see. I heard that there's another room behind that door. Yes, it's my bedroom, Naruto-san, as you well know. Shall I help you unpack your things? That's very kind, but no thank you. Your luggage looked very heavy. Are you sure I can't help you move it? That's very kind, but really, no thank you. A young maiden's private chamber is a place of bittersweet secrets, you know. The only secret I have is the 5-yen banknote hidden on the backside of my Dorama doll. Not Dorama doll. I bet that's not how you pronounce it. These tanks are for keeping sea creatures. They're called aquariums, and they were all the rage in London at one time, apparently. Yes, the English are so clever coming up with the idea of having ocean life on display in the home. And it means you always have an emergency midnight feast on hand, too. I'm sorry, what? I'm not sure that's really the idea. Soap is looking at me with one hollow, 2-centimeter wide eye. How poetic, Mr. Naruto. All the literary references we've been hearing are starting to rub off, I think. Really, whoever would have thought of using this depression to make coins of ice? It was clearly one of those ice coins that was in the soap when we first found it, wasn't it? Although, it was a sort of reddish color, I seem to remember. Hey Jerry, if you're here, can you let me know if the closed captions are working? If not, that's okay, but I tried to get them working. and I would love if they were working, because it'd be really helpful to a lot of people. 22nd of February, Sholmes' suite. Oh, Bruno! And Susie! Hooray! You're back! Hello, Iris. You're in fine spirits as always, I see. I am! And you look as immaculately presented as ever, Susie. Oh, you flatter me. Well, you couldn't have come at a better time. I've just made a pot of tea. I'll set some cups. Really? Thanks, Iris. But actually, what is that foul smell? Aha! The Wanderers returned at last. Where on earth have the pair of you been? We've been in court? Oh, for Mr. Mustache's case. That was today, was it? That was today, was it? I'm sure I mentioned it only yesterday, Mr. Sholmes. I'm sure you think you did. Well, we can laugh about it now. So tell me, how did the trial go? Reasonably well so far. We've managed to escape without a guilty verdict, at least. Really? I would have liked to see it. And I must pass the time of day with Mr. Reaper again. It's been too long. Is Lord Van Zieks an acquaintance, Mr. Sholmes? Naturally. There's not a person in the world who doesn't know my name, Mr. Otto. Not seeing closed captions per se, but there are subtitles for the characters. Okay. There's supposed to be closed captions for me. Rather than just the stuff I'm reading. So, that's annoying. But, I'll have to figure that out another day. Indeed. Alright. It's all good. It's all good. I will figure it out another day. Naturally, there's not a person in the world who doesn't know my name, Mr. Otto. Not quite what I asked, but still. Mr. Sholmes? Whatever is that odor? Yes, what is it? It's faint, but absolutely awful. Ah, indeed. That's the sense of victory, my dear fellows. Victory in science. Oh dear. Alright, I'll bite. What's he up to now? Lord Van Zieks. Yes, it's an interesting sobriquet he has, isn't it? The Reaper of the Valley. Once the legendary prosecutor has fought for someone's conviction, that person is doomed. Even if he or she is not found guilty by the courts, sooner or later the hapless soul will vanish from the capital. Vanish how exactly? By falling under a passing carriage or drowning in the Thames. Thames? What is it? I'm here looking, I'm scrolling through the local cat adoption aggregators for a new family member. Oh, cool! Good luck! Succumbing to a sudden fever, or, quite out of the blue, being set upon by a highwayman. There are numerous routes to one's final terminus, my dear fellow. It all seems a little far-fetched, really. Well, on the bright side, Mr. Mustache is fighting fit, for the time being, at least. That's not overly reassuring. If the rumors are true, though, the obvious conclusion would surely be that those acquitted are, well, by Van Zieks' own hand. As it happens, Mr. Sato, that is quite impossible. Oh, why? Why? Naturally, the man very quickly came under such suspicion. However, when these incidents occurred, the Reaper always had a cast iron alibi. Really? And so his reign continued, but 5 years ago, he vanished from the courts, never to appear as a prosecutor again. That is, until you arrived in the country, Mr. Otto. Yes, so I've heard. In fact, it was the very day I arrived when I was thrust into that trial at the Old Bailey. That bitter fight to the death coincided with the Reaper's resurrection, and really did end bitterly indeed. And here you are, facing Mr. Reaper again. Poor Bruno. I don't know if you're just incredibly unlucky. or incredibly unlikable. I think it goes deeper than just me. I sense a general loathing of all Japanese people. Racism! Hooray! So what is that indescribably foul smell? Ah, well, most probably this, I would say. What is that? My dear fellow, it is, of course, my latest invention. A chemical test that can identify whether or not a tea is genuine at the drop of some tea. Oh my. There are some unscrupulous sorts manning the stalls along some of London's less frequented streets. They regularly sell what purports to be high-quality tea, but is in fact merely dyed leaves of drab flavour. Well, that's certainly unsavory behaviour. So, when one is presented with what appears to be black tea, one must be careful. Iris! At the ready, Hurley! Let's add a drop of my chemical to this cup of tea here. Do you see what happens? Do you see what happens? It's turned completely black. And what a foul odour it's giving off. Indeed, the blacker the tea becomes and the more foul the odour, the better the tea is. It would appear that this cup was a particularly fine Darjeeling. That's very ingenious. But what do you do with that black liquid now? Why dispose of it, naturally? Surely you wouldn't like to drink it, would you? There does seem to be a rather obvious problem with your new invention, Mr. Sholmes. Hence why this chemical test is merely a test, my dear madam. Right. The point is, we are entering a new era of science, in the world of criminal investigation, also. Yes, forensic science. Oh, these are such exciting times. I regularly engage in this scientific experimentation alongside my unofficial consulting detective work. The Sherlock-Holmes method will be the foundation upon which modern investigative technique is based. This little tea indicant was a happy byproduct of my ongoing forensic science research. Ongoing forensic science research. He'd probably pronounce it research, rather than research. Forensic science, I suppose I should find out more about that. So, your t-test, is that an example of forensic science? Indeed it is. An essential tool in cases that hinge on the knowledge of whether some tea is of high or inferior quality. Not a huge number of cases, then. Perhaps a more practical example is required. Fingerprints. Fingerprints? Not yet accepted in our courts as evidence, I might add. Really, we are dragging our heels here. I hadn't even heard of them until recently. Which is partly why I undertake research in this field myself, of course. Does that mean you're studying fingerprints, Mr. Sholmes? There are others in that field already, and I abhor the company of inferior minds. No, what I am researching is skin prints. Skin prints? A nomenclature of my own design as this chemical agent that makes it possible. It instantly reveals objects touched by whatever person is under investigation. Brilliant, Mr. Sholmes. As long as it doesn't turn everything completely odorous and black. I assure you, my dear fellows, you will witness my forensic talents in action very soon indeed. With Mr. Natsume, who I'm currently defending being Japanese, as well as Miss Susato and myself, I felt it even more keenly in court today. For some reason, Lord Van Zeek seems to have an inherent disdain of the Japanese. Indeed, it is an interesting observation. Do you know something about it? Do you, Mr. Sholmes? It was about 10 years ago that Barak Van Zeek chose to enter the legal profession. However, before that time, the young man's closest companion hailed from the Empire of Japan. No. What the? Tell us more, Mr. Sholmes. What happened? I believe I've made it clear before. I'm unable to tell you anything about the affair. Oh, but... The veil will be lifted on the events of the past in due course, I have no doubt. For now, however, it is Mr. Mustache who is most deserving of your attention, I believe. Well, I think we should go back to the scene and see if we uncover any new clues. That's the spirit, Bruno. See you later. Yes, until later. No, Mr. Sholmes, we were thinking you'd come with us. You what? Yes, of course. You said so just a moment ago. You said we witnessed your forensic talents in action. Ah, yes, I do recall saying something along those lines. But you go on ahead. I shall be sure to follow you later. In all likelihood. Probably. Maybe. Well, I might. Your commitment astounds me. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. We'll eagerly await your arrival. Bye-bye, Bruno. Bye, Susie. Look at all these mementos. Look at all these mementos of Mr. Sholmes' past cases. You know, Mrs. Sada's eyes still sparkle every time she lays eyes on them. But yours don't, do they, Bruno? Well, I have read The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes now, by order of Mr. Sato. But the trouble is, having seen the real thing in action, somehow the stories don't quite ring true for me. Well, he does solve the cases, in the end. I suppose so. Perhaps there's more to the great detective than meets the eye. Iris? That's incredible concentration, that is. I find it quite remarkable how she can focus on so many different things at once. Perhaps I should try drinking more herbal tea. The blend third from the right would be good for you, Runa. Oh, Iris? This girl is destined for great things, I'm sure. Ah, yes, this is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? So, what's on the blackboard today? Buck up, Bruno. Buck up, Bruno. What is this? Oh, I'm just playing around with ideas for the title of next month's installment. Another idea I had was the barrel cornet. I'm really torn about which one to use. What do you think, Bruno? Anything but buck up Bruno, obviously. I suppose you're right. I tell you what, I'll surprise you with it. You'll have to wait until next month and see. Ugh, so many sleepless nights. It always strikes me how pretty and neatly arranged this tea set is. It's my favorite one. In fact, I think it's high time for afternoon tea. Wait there, I'll fetch the special blend I prepared for today. Oh, Iris, you do love your tea, don't you? She looks so happy at the prospect. And after you've drunk it, I'll collect some experimental data if that's alright. Just what is she about to make me drink? I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country. I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Although, I do yearn for a Japanese kotatsu. Putting your legs under a warm blanketed table is so comforting. Do be careful, Mr. Otto. Don't mistakenly put your feet into the fire, will you? You'd suffer terrible burns, you know. I worry sometimes about how Susato-san sees me. Like 22nd of February, St. Bartholomew's Hospital Recovery Ward. What do you suppose is happening? It sounds like some sort of disturbance. Yes, I hear angry voices. Be not angry, O ample lady. Verily thou art mistaken. Okay. What voice did I give Olive? Miss Olive Green. Voice. Oh, there we go. Mistaken my foot. You were looking at my painting. The eye of man hath not heard, the eye of man hath not seen. 'Twas foul indeed, the poison that mustached villain gaveth me. Forgive me, lady. I wish that you died from that poison. God mercy, ample lady, but thou seest I have vigour still. Behold my Shakespeare dance. This looks rather ominous, doesn't it? Ah, lo, 'tis the lawyer from the land whence riseth the sun. How now? What are you doing here, Mr. Shakespeare? Marry, I do believe I am returned into another ward. He was looking, that's what he was doing. Looking at my terrible work. Okay, bye, Jerry. Eastern fellow! So darkly clad. Faith, thy work in court this morning was wonderful. I do applaud thee. Oh, well, thank you. But that doesn't mean things will go so wonderfully for you tomorrow, does it? Anon, exeunt! Mr. Chancellor might technically be the victim in this case, but there's definitely a lot more to it than that. It's very hard to pin the man down. I'm so sorry. I'm such an awful person. Ah, Miss Green, is everything all right? Oh, yes. I mean, don't worry about me. They're about to discharge me, so I must get ready to leave now. Oh, I see. We're delighted that you'll soon be well enough to go home, Miss Green. Oh dear, you're too kind. I don't deserve it. So, are you feeling more like yourself today, Miss Green? I am. Thank you. I mean, people do recover from ordeals like this, don't they? Even people like me. Well, yes, it really was an ordeal, wasn't it? As far as I was concerned, I was just walking along in the snow one evening, minding my own business. And then, completely out of the blue, I was struck in the back by a knife and collapsed unconscious for days. Of course, when I finally woke up again yesterday, the whole business had been cleared up already. What a terrible week it's been for you. Oh no, I'm sure I'm very lucky, really. I'll look back on this fondly. Really? Anyway, I must be getting my things together now, so I'm ready to be discharged. Oh, yes, of course. Sorry to take up your time when you're obviously busy. (22nd of February, local prison, cell 9. Oh, Mr. Natsume is back. So he is. Mr. Natsume, hello! I am a cat. Sorry? I don't know who Mr. Natsume is. Or Hillock Sholmes. I don't know about courts or trials or old bellies. I am a cat. That's what I am, just a cat. Mr. Hato, he's trying to escape from reality. Trying to? He already has, completely. So, what is your name then? As yet, I have no name. Mr. Otto, he hasn't fully thought out his new identity yet. Maybe it's not too late to bring him back to reality. Do you think you could open your eyes for us, Mr. Natsume? I am not a cat. It worked! He's back in the real world. What's going to become of me? No! Don't answer that! It's obvious! My accursed soul is never going to escape this accursed fate! Mr. Natsume, no! This morning's proceedings in court prove that there's hope. Yes. Locum student Mr. Oro Esquire was brilliant, but the Reaper is omnipresent in court, in my lodgings! Here, there, everywhere! What's he looking straight at me for? I think perhaps there are some things we should discuss. Oh, yes, we must. In my whole life, have I ever been so moved as I was today? No! Of course, if I cast my mind back, there were perhaps one or two other occasions that moved me more. But if I just block those out, then today being in that courtroom it was the most moving experience of my life, locum student Mr. Naruto Esquire! You're too kind. Scotland Yard found the remaining tea just as we deduced, and are analyzing it as we speak. There's nothing wrong with that tea. They won't find a drop of poison in it. That's a solemn sworn Soseki certainty. Tell me, did you both drink the tea at the same time that night? Oh yes, most definitely. Remember, drink tea while it's hot. We both poured it down our throats like it was a hot bath for our bellies. And at the same time, you were both completely fine. As shown by the fact that he and Mr. Shakespeare then engaged in the Romeo and Juliet match. I suppose the focus of tomorrow's proceedings will be how the poison was taken by the victim then. That rotting Shakespeare! What have I ever done to him? You don't recall him taking issue with you over anything you've done recently? I've been holed up in my room, immersed in books. I don't recall anything. Anything at all! Right. But what I don't understand is why he didn't let me know sooner. Let you know what, Mr. Natsume? About this soap, of course. What else? Oh dear. Are you struggling with such a meager stipend? Of course I am. If I had money, I wouldn't have chosen to live in a cursed existence in such a cursed lodgings. Oh yes, you said it's because the place is cursed that it's so cheap, didn't you? Exactly. Especially in the room that I rent. The spirit of that capital offender who lived there still haunts the place, and it's trying to kill me. Capital offender? Might I ask, locum student Mr. Naruto Esquire, that the next time you visit me, you'll bring scores of super soft soaps? Mr. Natsume, what do you know about this? Ah, there it is! That lathery lowlife that took my neighbor's life and sent me sliding to the depths of despair! Slippery, sickly, psychotic saboteur! You've really gone off soap, haven't you?
Absolutely! And I've made up my mind. The next time someone gives me soap as a present, it's friendship finished firmly forever!
I don't know that we can blame soap for everything that's happened, Mr. Natsume. Mr. Natsume, it's nothing much, but...
Ah, it's been too long since I've been offered a present with that delightfully humble etiquette of our homeland.
What?
You're too kind. I accept it gladly.
Sorry, but I wasn't trying to give it to you, actually. "22nd of February, Mr. Natsume's lodgings, ground floor." Oh, hello again, Inspector Gregson.
What are you doing here?
Well, we were hoping to have another look around, actually. The lawyer representing the defendant has a right to examine the scene, as I'm sure you're aware.
Yeah, I know, score.
Oh, yes, one other thing. The soap on the ledge outside the window. Did you find it? With the tea in it?
Yeah, we found it alright. And there was a small amount of tea in it, as you said.
I knew it.
It's with the identification section at the yard now. They're looking into it. The results should be available later today.
That's wonderful news, thank you.
Pretty impressive performance you got this morning.
Sorry?
Nothing. Forget it. Just make sure you don't disturb anything in here.
Hey! There's Herlock. So it turns out that Mr. Shiansu wasn't eating the soap at all. That's right. The mystery of why he had it on a plate whilst holding a fork in his hand is solved. Yes, to prize his latest ice coin out of its mold. And in the process, he accidentally broke the bar of soap in two. Certainly was hard to imagine, let alone deduce. Ah, the ill-fated teacups from which the two men drank on the ill-fated night. During their heated literary debate, yes. Who's stronger, Romeo or Juliet? It sounds like it was quite a discussion. Now that I think of it, I'm sure that the two lovers in the play ended their lives with poison. That's fiction, Mr. Sato. Let's hope it stays that way. The sun never shines in this room, thanks to that depressing bricked-up window. Yet, with enough determination, you can always remove the bricks to set some soap outside, can't you? Sounds like a very wise life lesson, Mr. Sato. Only if you plan to follow a life of crime, Mr. Narada. If you ran out of change, you wouldn't have any light, let alone heat. For the needy, London's winters can be very harsh. That's true, but if you think about it, even the wealthy would find themselves freezing if they ran out of small change. London's winters can be very harsh for the forgetful too, then. Frankly, I'm starting to wonder if Susato-san and I are going to make it to spring. That's true. We don't even have a meter at Baker Street, let alone a gas stove. Look how dark the stain of the floor is underneath the meter there. Yes, from all the water dripping out after the ice coins melted, as you established in court this morning. It's a very large and obvious stain, isn't it? Mr. Shamsbill must have used an awful lot of ice coins, I suppose. It was an ingenious idea, I'll give him that. I'm just gonna... No. There we go. Okay. Sorry, I was just repositioning my cameras a little bit. Are you looking for new clues, Inspector?
On Lord Van Zeek's orders, yeah. Don't come back till you got something from me, he says.
Oh dear, who are you?
Yeah, poor me. Because we already searched every bleeding nook and cranny of this place. I don't know what he expects, to be honest. Thank goodness for warm trips is all I could say.
Well, at least he's honest. Mr. Sholmes, what are you up to over there? What a question indeed. Was it not your good self? Asked me to attend the scene?
Oi, what are you doing here, Sholmes?
What are you up to over there? What are you doing here? Dear me, once a great detective, one is always under scrutiny, it seems. Is now the time, Mr. Sholmes? Are you about to show us your forensic talents in action as you promised? With the greatest of pleasure, my dear madam. The greatest of pleasure, my dear madam. What's all this? Ooh. All this is precisely what you requested, Mr. Leonardo. Look, Sholmes, sensational skin print seeker gun. Moments ago, I took a sample from the teacup that was used by the victim. A sample? From Mr. Shamspeare's cup? Each individual leaves microscopic secretions on everything he or she touches. A sample of those secretions is all I need to produce this, a refined indicator solution. By liberally spraying the room with this chemical, everything the victim touched is instantly revealed with the aid of these bottles. Here, try them on. There, now spray the chemical indicator about and all will be revealed. Spray? How do I use that exactly? A little press of A on the area you're interested in is all that's required. Like this. Ah, what is that stuff? It's like fog. A suspension of the chemical indicator is a pressurized gas. It's the most efficient way to cover a large area. That was another invention I discovered incidentally whilst I was developing this idea. As you do. Go ahead, try it, my dear fellow. We may learn something interesting about the victim's movements the night in question. Well, there's nothing to lose, I suppose. Let's explore. Oh, look at all this here. Ah, yes, interesting. A multitude of the victim's handprints. Why are there so many of them on the floor in this one spot? Ooh, perhaps he had a bad fall just here. There's nothing obvious that he would have tripped over, though, is there? I wonder. Personally, I often stumble when there's nothing obvious to trip over. I think that's something only a great detective would do, Mr. Sholmes. Well, this is quite a puzzle. Handprints all over the floor. Yes, there's no obvious explanation. I mean, I feel like there might be. I feel like maybe the Romeo and Juliet fight might have resulted in this. Look, there's dozens of handprints here. So, a great many indeed. So much so that it's hard to make out any individual one print, in fact. It sends a chill down my spine. Perhaps he was leaning against the wall while he admired this picture. Unlikely, I would say. It's a rather dull scene, after all. And without wishing to state the obvious, you wouldn't generally admire a picture from such close quarters, I feel. Oh, very true, Mr. Sato. It's a bit of a mystery, then. Well, we sprayed Mr. Sholmes' amazing skin print indicator all over this room, didn't we? We did, but there are two places in particular that are of interest, I would say. The handprints on the floor there, and on the wall by the picture, you mean? Yes, and I think the floor warrants closer investigation. I won't be a moment. What is it, Mr. Sato? Look here, Mr. Otto. One of the floorboards has popped out. One of the... You mean it's a secret hiding place? Okay, never mind. That is not why. I was very wrong about why that would be... Yeah. Excellent work, Mr. Otto. So, what do we have in here?
Oi, what are you lot doing?
Inspector Gregson.
Stand aside right this minute. It's my job to investigate there. It's my job to investigate that.
Indeed, Inspector, you continue to dig in your portion of chips whilst we dig around the floor here.
Your fancy talk's putting me off my food anyway, Sholmes. A new bit of evidence is exactly what I need.
Wow, a secret hiding place under the floor. What a find! It's not a hiding place you could make use of in Japan. I don't think I could lift a straw to the Tommy mat. No, I know, but I never expected one of these wooden floorboards to move either. It's got me wondering about the wall over there too. Aren't you curious? Oh! I'll investigate it at once. There's nothing behind the picture, sadly. Only the wall. How disappointing. But then, how do you explain the handprints? I really can't think why anyone would have been touching the wall over and over in one place like that. There you are! Print for you! Photograph of the handprints on the wall has been entered into the court record. Oh, thank you very much! His invention can make prints too? So I can find prints and it can make prints. Now then. I wonder if Inspector Gregson has found anything under the floor there. I'm desperate to know. So am I. I'd love to know if there's anything hidden underneath that floorboard there. Allow me to ask Gregson now. After all, we're well acquainted. Inspector Gregson, really, it's been too long.
What is it, Sholmes?
I thought perhaps you might show me what you found there. Seeing as we're such good friends.
We're not friends.
Sir! Welcome back! I haven't seen you in a while! Oh, that's a good stretch, actually. I needed that. Ugh. That's actually... I needed that stretch. That... I was... Oof. Oof. Just in time to annoy the police. Excellent. Yes, indeed. Although you did miss some annoying of the police earlier. But yes, you're here for this one.
No, I suppose not.
A dismal failure. Yes, I heard. Killer note was under that floorboard.
Alright, in fast fair.
What?
You did discover the hiding place after all. I suppose I should at least fill you in.
Really, Inspector? Thank you. Do it quickly, my dear fellow. If there's one thing I know about this man, it's that he blows with the wind, as fickle as the fair. As fickle as the weather, rather.
Alright, stop making me out to be some kind of nut. There were 3 items on the floor there. A newspaper clipping,
a newspaper clipping,
a photographic print, and a tin box. Now, what do you want to know?
Let's start with the newspaper clipping.
Looks like this was got a paper about 3 months ago. It's about a convict who got sick and died while he was serving time up in Manchester.
How terrible.
Made headlines down here in London as well. Bloke had been sentenced to death, you see, but nature caught him first.
Oh my goodness, he committed a capital offence?
Man by the name of Selden. Nasty piece of work in the burglaries and murder. They say all he knocked off was worth about £1,000.
A hoard of treasure, you mean?
Jewelry and the like. But he is somewhere and no one knows where. Now he's dead. Papers loved it, of course. £1,000 lost en route to hell or something such was the headline.
Does it not strike you then? Why such an article would be so carefully ensconced under the floor?
I suppose, now you mention it, it does seem a bit odd. Perhaps I'll go over the paperwork we've got to sell back at the yard and see if I can turn anything up.
Capital offender article is entered the court record. Newspaper article about Selden, a criminal to receive the death penalty, how he died of illness in prison, lost his sleep, remained undiscovered. Photographic print.
So, this is a photograph I found. Looks reasonably recent to me.
Yes, it would appear to have been taken on the street in front of the house here. And the gentleman on the left is Mr. And the gentleman on the left is Mr. Garrett, the landlord, of course. But who's the young man on the right? Mr. Garrett's son, perhaps?
Perhaps. Hey, you can take that print if you like.
Really? Are you sure? We can presume, therefore, that the yard already knows the identity of the young fellow, that is. Ah, is that true?
Well, it's too bad if we do. Unfortunately for you lot, leaking information isn't one of my pastimes.
My dear Inspector, if I may be so bold as to point something out. Pastimes of one's leisure, but this is for work.
All the more reason I'm not telling you.
Dismal failure. Yes, I heard. I wonder why a photograph like this was hidden under the floor. I mean, Mr. Shamspeare himself isn't in it. Photographic prints are still rare treasures in the East End. I imagine Mr. Geddes was rather delighted to have been immortalized. Probably made a proud present of it. By the way, Sarah, what is your favorite voice that I've been doing? You've attended a lot of my streams, so I'm curious. What are your favorites?
This tin box looks interesting, doesn't it?
Might I suggest, Inspector, that you open it? If you were to find something inside that reveals the truth behind this case, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised.
Yeah, funnily enough, I've already had a look. It's completely empty.
What? Shamspeare! Give us a clue, man! Iris and Gregson are faves. Cool. Okay. I did not expect any women to be on that list. Iris is a pretty adorable one, and Greggy is just a lot of fun. Cool. Thanks, I appreciate it. I like hearing what people think about things they do, you know? And the Scottish Gina is pretty great. Curse you on that one, Sarah. But you're really, honestly? You're being truthful on that? Like, you know. Because it was hard, considering she was written with a different accent in mind. But I put in a lot of work to do the Scottish accent right. We didn't even have the chance to utter a word, Mr. Nada. But anyway, at least we found out what's inside the box. Yes, thin air. I'm being a little silly, but it's pretty good, honestly, yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, I figured you were probably bringing that up just to be, you know, yeah. But I am happy that you actually thought it was good. Yes, thin air. It's empty, rather like how I feel inside. Wow, that's a little dark. Is there nothing more to this box then? I wonder. Hey! Oh look, it's that lovely little kitty cat. What was its name? It's Mr. Natsume's, isn't it? I don't think we've ever asked him, actually. Why don't we call it, Wagai? You know, like Mr. Natsume refers to himself in Japanese. I wonder how he got in here, clever cat. Oh, wonderful! Well then, Wagai, here's something delicious I bought for you from the cat's meat man. He is adorable. Couldn't be happier now, look. I just hope we can bring some happiness to his owner, too. Oh, here we go. We got a bot. That was a cheeky little meow. Hi. Oh, but he's so adorable. I could sit and watch him forever. I think he may not appreciate that after a while, and we have an investigation to get back to. Twenty-second of February, Briar Road. Okay, nope. 22nd of February, Mr. and Mrs. Gerard's room. Mr. Gerard appears to be out. Oh well, I suppose we'll just have to come back again later. What I hate about this case is how tasty the soap starts to look after they get apparently. Alright. Mr. Natsume, about this receipt.
It occurs to me now. It was one of those confounded books that saw me arrested the first time, too.
Oh yes, I suppose that's true.
After I spent my precious pennies on them, that's the thanks I get. Now I don't know when I'll read them. No, not when. If I may very well hate them too much to even open their covers.
I don't know that we can blame the books for everything that's happened, Mr. Natsume. Nope. Nope. Let's see. Nope. Here we go.
What's this?
It's a newspaper cutting that we found in Mr. Shamsier's room.
Ah, so he knew, did he?
It just looks like it's a nice pistachio flavor, and like it'd have a good texture, all right. I admit it. See, I don't like pistachio, and I don't think it has a good texture. So I guess that's why I haven't been affected by it. Sorry?
About this man, Selden. A convicted killer and the evil spirit behind the curse that afflicts my lodgings.
What?
He's already taken one young man's life, and now he's trying to take the life of another! A miserable, mustached, much maligned Japanese man!
Mr. Natsume, if you know something, please, you must tell us. Tell us everything you can about this evil spirit.
The truth is, I didn't know the details myself until very recently. That Selden man was arrested about a year ago now. And at the time, he was hiding out in lodgings at Mr. Gadam's house.
What? He lived where you do now?
That's right, yes. Exactly where I live now, and in my very room.
Oh my! Your room was previously occupied by a criminal? By a criminal found guilty of a capital offense?
But before his sentence could be carried out, he died in prison. That was 3 months ago now. And that's when it started. The curse.
What really is this curse you keep mentioning, Mr. Natsume?
It's already caused one death. A few months after the criminal passed away in prison, a man died in the room. The man who rented it after Selden, in fact. The poor lodger, he was found dead in mysterious circumstances. The room was locked from the inside.
Locked from the inside, exactly like the case we're dealing with now. So that's the convict's curse, is it?
Yes, well, that was the start of it.
Do you have any idea how the lodger before you passed away, Mr. Natsume?
The official cause of death was asphyxia. When they discovered the body, the room was full of gas.
Gas?
I only found that out after I'd signed the lease. When Mr. Gadam came to tell me later, I couldn't stop myself trembling. In fact, if I'd known beforehand, I'd probably have been too scared to take the room. Landlord's lease, luckily legal.
Lucky for Mr. Garadeb, maybe, but not so lucky for poor Mr. Natsume. And now you believe this curse is affecting you.
It is. At first, I just felt as though I was being watched all the time.
And then you talked about having nightmares, didn't you?
The dead are trying to take me with them. They come for me and try to suffocate me. Just when I'm struggling to breathe, I wake up, and then the room is cold as ice.
But why is your room so cold?
London winters are too cold to bear without any heating on overnight, but for some reason, even though I light the stove before I climb into bed at night, the pilot light always goes out and the room fills with gas.
But that's terrible. It's exactly the same situation as what led to the previous occupant's death. And then there's what happened to Mr. Shamspeare last night, when he was mysteriously poisoned. There's clearly more to that incident that can be explained by a curse, though. Whatever can be the cause of all these strange happenings in Mr. Gadam's rooms? Nope. Okay then. Ah, here we go. Now we're going to talk to Mr. Garadeb. What is it going to February, Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb's room? Oh, apologies. Ah, you're here now, Mr. Garadeb.
Right, bally business it is, I mean, you know.
Nope, that's not his voice. Boy. many voices. I have so many voices recorded here. There's so many of them.
Well, it's nothing particularly. Right, bally business it is for me, you know. Get out and about.
Were you at the Old Bailey by any chance?
Naturally, fate of my lodgings hanging in the balance and all that. Not a trial to miss.
Fate of what's already been dubbed your haunted lodgings, yes.
Of course, the place has caused quite a stir, or rather capital, more than one occasion lately.
Nope, that's not.
As the old haunted lodgings are some such.
Ah, well, at least he knows.
Makes you wonder what the blazes is going on, don't you know?
Yes, I'm sure it does. In fact, thinking back to Mr. Natsume's other trial just 2 days ago, you were at the Old Bailey then as well, weren't you? Testifying with your wife about what happened.
Stopped off at the prison on the way home, in fact. Basically business.
I see.
So, what brings you to my haunted abode today, eh?
Mr. Gyarados, could I ask you to look at this photograph? Is that your son who's with you there?
No, not at all. He was a lodger here once. Duncan Ross was his name.
Duncan Ross?
A street photographer happened to be passing, so I asked him to take a shot, just for kicks, really.
Was he by any chance the lodger before Mr. Natsume?
Yes, that's right.
Ah, the young gentleman who died in the room in mysterious circumstances. Just what Mr. Mustache was waiting for, one might say.
Yes, young Duncan lived in the room at the top of the first flight of stairs before that Japanese chap.
Would you mind telling us a little more about him?
Yes, Duncan Ross. Young chap was attending art school. Had to work to pay for what you mind. I moved into the middle floor about a year ago, after that criminal Sylvan was arrested. Young students are always on the hunt for rooms with a history behind them.
A history of cheap rent, maybe, yes.
Yes, well, anyway, it was one morning, about a month ago now. I hadn't quite worked out the old trick for watching the gas lamps to see what my lodge was up to at the time. So, sadly, I was rather tardy to discover what had happened. The smell of gas that alerted me, it was.
Ah yes, synonymous with the smell of death.
Called the police straight away, of course. An officer has kicked the door for 10 years. Once we got inside, we bodily collapsed.
Because of the gas?
Yes, room was full of it, no air at all. Stove must have gone out while the poor chap was sleeping in his bed.
So Mr. Ross suffocated to death.
Of course, the police gave me a sound ticking off because the gas pipes were so old and all that. Can't tell you how much it set me back to have the lot replaced all over the house.
But even after you had all that work done, Mr. Natsume says the same thing. That the stove goes out at night while he's asleep in bed.
Why, it's the bloody gas! The convict's gas! I've done my duty as a landlord now.
Someone's feeling defensive.
Your lodgings. Some fishy fellow from the Far East, a failed actor, chap of questionable character, eh? Yes, the house does seem to have become something of a magnet for rum fellows of late. Thanks to that bolly gas.
The convict's curse, you mean?
Ah, you heard the stories, have you? Rotten scoundrel was arrested, the next chap in the room goes and kills over. Then there was that woman who dropped dead just outside the street, not to mention the actor yesterday. And I next, eh? Well, can't help get the collywobbles, can you?
When you say the woman who dropped dead outside on the street, do you mean Miss Green? Because Miss Green, who was stabbed by the knife, and Mr. Shamspear, who was poisoned last night, are both very much alive still.
Yes, well, so is that blasted convict cuss, it seems.
Great Ace Attorney, the real evils are landlords and the British. Yeah, I mean... Yeah. I mean, well, specifically, a lot of it is about the powerful, right? It is about those who wield power over others. So, you know, that's what a lot of the themes of these cases are about. And it's what defines a lot of the relationships present in these two games. So, I know you're like just trying to be, like, you know, you're trying to make a... But I'm just saying, like, you know, that is why there's all this stuff about the landlords and stuff, like, and about the British, is that the themes are about those who have power over others and what they use that for, or what they don't use that for. You know, that's why, you know, Gino could be such a great character in these games. I'm sure she'll return at some point, but anyways, but, like, you know, her role in the game was very specific because it was so entrenched in these ideas. And so, yeah, you know, a lot of stuff about the wealthy and you know, those who hold power over others. It's cool. It's interesting.
Yes, well, sir, is that blessed Convict cast, it seems.
Personally, I should be quite content with such lodgings. A bath, a toilet, a fireplace, and a fascinating history. Why? It sounds like the lap of luxury.
I'm not so sure about that.
Well, there's no bath or toilet included, and no fireplace either.
But you do look out for your tenants, don't you? By watching the rise and fall of the flames in your gas lamps up here.
Yes, never hurts to keep an eye on things, in case there are any mishaps or such like.
I think you've had your mishap already, sir.
That's not helpful, Mr. Sholmes. Heaven forgive me, the words just came to my lips.
Some fishy fellow from the Far East and a failed actor chap of questionable character, eh?
Questionable character. There's no need for that, eh? No need for that, Mr. Garrett.
That's right. Mr. Natsume is in no way fishy.
He is undeniably peculiar, however. Is it right that he took the vacancy immediately after the previous tenant passed away?
Yes, well, that's right. I asked the estate agent to find someone, he popped up the very next day. Never come across a cap so keen for a place with a background, as it were.
I don't think it was the room's background he was keen on so much as the cheap rent, actually.
So, how long has Mr. Shakespeare been lodging under your roof?
That failed actor chap? Let me see. Oh, of course. Yes, it's been 3 months now. Quite sure of it.
Only 3 months? He's quite new here too, then.
And what do you owe your certainty in that regard, Mr. Garrett, if I might ask?
Well, it was that Selden scoundrel as it happens.
Selden? The convict, you mean? Do Selden and Shakespeare have some kind of connection, then?
That convict chap, Selden, passed away in the clink 3 months ago now, you see. Some malady or other.
Yes, we've seen the report from the newspaper at the time.
Well, it was only 3 days later when the...
I feel like this is too close to Greg's son.
Is significant, but it's around that sort of... Well, it's nothing particularly significant.
Well, it's nothing particularly significant. Well, it was only 3 days later that the tragedy showed his face, the actor fellow.
Really?
Yes, I remember it quite distinctly.
'Tis small the world we inhabit. Prithee, landlord, hear my request. I, the humble Shakespeare, do desire to take thy room on the middle floor offered erewhile for rent.
Terribly sorry and whatnot, but that won't be possible. Already have a lodger on the middle floor. Ground floor room's vacant, though.
Nothing can be made out of nothing. Let me repeat mine will unto thee. Those skills must be muffling your ears.
The room on the middle floor's taken. It's ground floor or nothing.
Very well. How we have an accord.
Glad to hear it. Welcome to Briarwood. Hello, a Shakespeare dance to celebrate!
From what I heard in court today, sounds like the chap was thieving gas. And he was 3 months in arrears with the red too. Yes, the fellow was a bully player, all right.
Thank you for your candor, Mr. Garab. We are most grateful. By way of appreciation, allow me to say 1 or 2 words. Give me my robe, put on my crown. I have immortal longings in me.
What's happened to you?
Shakespeare, my dear fellow, one of his most famous lines. I wish to divulge my own learning of the subject, for I have a turn for literature too, you know.
Perhaps you could turn your attention to more apt lines then? Ah, that reminds me, actually. Yes? About young Duncan, the night before the chap perished. He'd been writing a letter of affection to a young lady.
A love letter, you mean?
Yes, well, I put it now. Ah, here it is. Left on my desk.
If you'll excuse me, let me see it now. What does it say? To my most beautiful and charming sweetheart. Do you think that we should be reading such a personal piece of correspondence? My dear Mr. Sutter, that is precisely why I prefaced my reading with, if you'll excuse me. I will not excuse you, Mr. Sholmes, no.
That lady didn't address it, though. So I've no means of delivering the thing. Rather sad, really. I see. That's going to play on my mind.
But really, the identity of Mr. Ross's sweetheart has no bearing on the case. I think we should leave well alone.
Yes, I suppose you're right.
Indeed, the intended recipient's address is missing. However, there is a name attributed to the man's most beautiful and charming sweetheart. Mr. Sholmes, please! I've already had to chastise you about this once. My undying love to you, my colorful darling, Olive Green. Huh? Olive Green? The woman who was plunged into a coma after a knife plunged into her back outside his house 5 days ago? The victim of the last case Saseki-san was in court for, who regained consciousness only yesterday? Is it just chance that her name has come up now? Could it possibly be a mere coincidence? Miss Nardo, whatever can this mean?
Let's talk to Olive. "22nd of February, St. Bartholomew's Hospital Recovery Ward."
Mrs. Arno, I've just finished speaking with the doctor. It seems Miss Green is well enough to be discharged at last.
This is good news. But hopefully just before she leaves.
Ah! What is it? Oh, hello everyone. What are you all doing here? The doctor said I could be discharged, so I'm just getting my things together. Miss Green, what were you just doing? Oh, nothing really. I was just about to take some medicine the doctor prescribed for me, that's all. Well, we were hoping to have another quick chat with you, if that's alright. I don't really have anything else to tell you.
Alright, she's definitely behaving strangely. Let's see if we can't coax something out of her. It's wonderful news that you're going to be discharged, Miss Green.
Oh, yes. I mean, thank you. Once people are better, the hospital staff don't want them lingering and wasting space. Not people like me, anyway. So I don't think I should keep anyone waiting. I probably shouldn't stand around and chat.
She certainly doesn't seem to be in the mood to talk, that's for sure. This is the bottle that Miss Green was just about to drink from when we arrived.
Yes, she looked rather preoccupied, didn't she?
Perhaps it's very bitter. I can't stand bitter medicine.
I suppose that could be it.
In fact, whenever a doctor prescribes me medicine for a number of days, I always take it all at once.
Oh no!
Well, if you have to take something you don't like, it's best to get it all out of the way in one go, isn't it?
Oh dear. And I thought it was Miss Green I should be worrying about at the moment.
Jesus. This is the card that Miss Green was looking at so intently before, isn't it?
Miss Naruto, we shouldn't be peeking at a young woman's private effects.
Right, I should say peeking for gentlemen's effects only.
You mustn't do that either.
And maybe you, Mrs. Otto, shouldn't be peeking into a young man's mind either, hmm? Wait, so... Is she literally like, what? Is she reading our mind? What? Anyways... That's an interesting layer to the Great Ace Attorney franchise. Or to the Ace Attorney franchise, rather, as a whole. Anyways, Miss Green, about this.
Could you just hold that there for a moment? Don't move.
Sorry?
No, the aesthetics are all wrong.
Is it wrong that I feel so thoroughly rejected? Ah, here we go. Miss Green, we were hoping to ask you about someone. Mr. Duncan Ross. You knew him. Every assistant can read the main character's mind. I have never understood what's happening. I guess I was never totally clear whether you know, the stuff in blue was supposed to be, like, under their breath or in their mind. I never quite knew which one it was supposed to be, whether it was supposed to be just muttering or thoughts. But apparently it's in their mind, and go figure. I don't know what to make of that. I just don't. Yeah, I just don't know what to make of that fact. That, yeah. Yeah. Mr. Duncan Ross, you knew him, didn't you? What the? Oh no, I'm so sorry. The bottle of medicine fell down when she did.
Oh, Miss Green, are you all right?
I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to startle you like that.
No, it's all right. I just wasn't expecting it. But how do you know about Duncan? Mr. Ross had been writing a letter when he passed away. The landlord found it in his room. It was a very personal letter to you. It was at the art school. That's where I met Duncan, a year ago now. He was working to fund his studies. He dreamt of being a professional artist one day.
And the two of you became
romantically involved? Yes, that's right. We were very much in love. We were engaged to be married, actually. That's why he decided to move into a cheaper room, to save money for the wedding.
And that's what led to Mr. Garrideb's...
Yes.
That's what led to Mr. Garrideb's.
Yes. He told me he'd found the worst but cheapest room in the entire East End. And then, 1 month ago, that's when it happened. We're so terribly sorry, Miss Green. Well, it's all in the past now, I suppose. Poor Miss Green. She looks so desperately sad.
I was starting to think that's just her look. But now I see that she has every reason to feel the universe is against her.
I do hope you won't think I'm being rude, but would you mind leaving me in peace now? I have to leave the hospital soon. Oh, I'm so sorry. We didn't mean to hold you up. Of course, we'll be on our way. Mr. Naruto? Who is this? Mr. Naruto, surely you were not about to leave. That's quite out of the question. What? Mr. Sholmes, I didn't realize you were here. But of course I was, Mr. Fellow. Watching intently from the shadows, as always. Well, make your presence known next time. Mr. Sholmes, what's this about? Something which occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Sato, is this. Why do detectives insist on such an ex post facto modus operandi? Why solve a case after it's happened, instead of preventing a case before it happens? That is what sets a great detective apart. A great detective apart. What do you mean? There's a case waiting to happen under our very noses, Mr. Naruto. So let us avert disaster. Let us prevent this case from ever happening. Oh, shoot! Thank you. Thank you, sir, for, thank you. I know what you're talking about now, and... Okay, so, okay, so... Putting in the description CW suicide attempt. What would you say it's a suicide attempt? Suicide... What would you use for the content warning, Sarah? I forget which one you used specifically when you told me about this. Okay. Suicide attempt, content warning. Right here now. I'm really glad you were here to warn me. Thank you. Means a lot, actually. Like, a lot. Let's see. Thank you. Seriously. So it is about disaster. Let us prevent this case from ever happening with nothing but careful observation. Alright. All the clues you need are set before you. You need only look and you cannot fail to see. You can do it, Mr. Otto. I know you can. That mouse seems to be dead, look. I didn't notice it there before, did you? Did you? I think perhaps it drank the medicine that spilled out of the bottle. But that's... the bottle that Miss Green was about to drink from when we arrived. You don't think... Ah, I see you've come to appreciate the true nature of this scene. That of a tragedy about to take place. Yes, I think it's falling into place. Miss Green, the contents of the bottle you had before has spilt out on the floor, and the poor mouse that drank it has sadly died. I think it's clear that the bottle must have contained a powerful poison. Don't worry. I will attend to the mouse presently. Miss Green, were you intending to go the same way as that rodent? To take your own life? Once we'd left, you would have put it to your lips again, wouldn't you? And taken the poison. No! Miss Green, please talk to us.
Definitely feels as though this card must be relevant. I mean, when we first arrived, Miss Green was standing with it in her hand in what can only be described as a very tense atmosphere.
Yes. It may very well be related to whatever incident Mr. Jones believes was about to happen here. Perhaps we should ask Miss Green about it.
Decades later, and we would have arrived at a very different scene here. In all probability, we would not have enjoyed this most delightful conversation. Of course, perhaps it hasn't been quite so delightful from your perspective, Miss Green.
Actually, in a way. Now that everything's out of the open, I feel like a weight has been lifted.
Tell me, how did you acquire that medicine?
Well, with this being a hospital and all, when the doctor comes to examine me in the mornings, he always leaves the medicine cabinet open for a while. So I snuck this out when he wasn't looking. It conspicuously lacks a label. I wonder what it contains. I'm afraid I don't really know. But I thought, if I drank it, it might just stop the pain somehow. Oh, please, Miss Green, don't talk of such things.
Well, it seems clear now that it contains poison.
Yes, that poor little mouse is proof of that. Oh, no. Oh, it's all my fault. What have I done?
I shall remove this to my office, Miss Green. I take it you have no objection?
No, none.
Oops. Hey, you know, Sarah, at least it's being treated with weight this time, right? Like, last time there was a suicide thing, right? Which was in the first game, it was a frickin' joke. So, that's an improvement, I guess.
Neither the sender's name nor or address appears to be written on the envelope or the card.
Yeah, like it's a real tragedy. Yeah. You know? It's not, haha, look at the quirky store owner who's gonna blow his brains out if, you know, that pawnbroker was just badly written all around. Yeah, I mean, like, I was genuinely concerned that, like, obviously until they had, you know, given me a few more details, but, like, at first when he was murdered, I was genuinely concerned that they would, like, have it be that he actually shot himself. Because it was so poorly written all first. Like, it just felt all wrong. Like, I was so worried, you know, that was the case. This is just awful. Just awful. Truly atrocious. But, you know, I was just talking about this the other day in my community. I was talking about just how bad content warnings are. And really, I should be getting a lot better at putting them, honestly, on my streams. It's my freaking ADHD. I don't always remember to fill in all the details about all my videos. I just don't get to them, like, right away, and it can just be... But I really ought to just make sure that I put in content warnings and stuff, because I don't do that enough. I really don't. I I really ought to do more of that.
It arrived by post at my home the day before the incident that put me in hospital here.
I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 p.m. on the 17th. Don't tell anybody else about this letter or the meeting. It is a matter of utmost importance. Wait a minute. The 17th? This month? That's the day you were stabbed on Briar Road.
And 5 p.m. is precisely the time when the incident occurred. The Slug and Salad, yes. A pub on the northern corner of Briar Road.
Briar Road being the street that Mr. Garrett's house is on.
Does this mean that... Yes, I'm sure you've guessed. That day when I was struck in the back by the knife, I was actually on my way to the Slug and Salad. Goodness.
So that's what you were doing on Briar Road that day.
I'm sorry I didn't say anything before. I think I really will have to ask you to excuse me now. I've told you everything.
Yes, I'm very sorry to have had to drag up such painful memories for you.
No, it's fine. Miss Green, please promise us you won't try to do anything like that again. Yes, don't worry. Your detective friend has the bottle now anyway. And besides, I've been stabbed in the back and had a close shave with a bottle of poison, and I'm still here. I think I'm destined to see things through to the end. It might sound a little conceited, but well, that's how all this has made me feel.
Leaving Miss Green and St. Bartholomew's behind, we made our way back to Baker Street with Mr. Sholmes.
Well, it would appear we've reached the end of the investigative trial for today.
Yes, it's late.
And Mr. Naruto, did you discover anything that may be of use to you in court tomorrow, do you think?
Details about Mr. Shamspeare, Mr. Garrett's lodgings, the convict Selden. There are many facets of this case, and we're yet to see the heart of it, if you ask me. That's my feeling, anyway.
I can't help but wondering about the results of the analysis.
Is it Mr. Natsume's tea, you mean?
Yes. Will they have found strychnine in it or not?
Well, I fear that either way, it will be hard to escape the grip of our friend, Mr. Reaper.
Oh, dear.
Yes, Barak Van Zeeks. But I wish you every success, of course. And though I was late to rise this morning, tomorrow will be a new dawn. I intend to spring from my bed at a crisp hour and attend the trial.
Mr. Sholmes, you're going to come?
Indeed. Whatever happens, I shall be there. Assuming my eyelids cooperate in the morning. Well, I think we've done all we can. All that's left is to remain focused and keep fighting for Miss Natsume's cause until the very end. London, the world's most prosperous city, home to some 6 million people. But away from the razzle-dazzle, down back alleys and behind bricked up windows, the lonely lurk. Soseki-san had battled long and hard with loneliness during his many months here, and so I felt honor-bound to battle equally hard for my compatriot, to lift the curse that gripped him. As Mr. Sholmes said, tomorrow would be a new dawn for all of us. Alright! We're wrapping up there for today, because it's an hour and 50 minutes. I usually do 2 hours, and this is a perfect time to stop. Thank you for being here, Sarah. Thank you very much for the content warning. Jerry, I really appreciate that you were here earlier. I know you're not here now, but I still want to thank you. Good gaming, good game. Yeah, agreed. So yeah, that's all. Good other streamer. I love his work. He does a great job. And Toodles. Oh wait, that didn't work. Hold on. There we go. Oh, here, and I will see you guys probably on Saturday. I have an audition actually. Earlier that day, but I'll probably be back and ready to do some more Broken Age by the time